Just his favorite rock star just sings it.
So why is this the song of the week? Is Papa H cooking or
Straight cooking, yeah.
straight cooking? Kinda, yeah.
And honestly, I was just like, for some reason, I just ended up on a YouTube fucking video of fucking how all Triple H's songs were fucking made and shit like that. And it was the old WWE song creator and shit like that. And that fool actually wrote all these songs, and it was just the band. This was fucking Triple H's favorite band, and came to sing, and like added a little twist to that shit.
That's fire. That's fire. Shots. I guess what I mean by that is, yeah, like, I guess you could say that recently with, like, the build-up to Raw, Netflix, and all that type of stuff, it seems like Papa H is cooking. However, I think Saturday night's main event, you gotta say...
A little... can I say it?
Say it. Say what you want.
Stale.
I was gonna say kind of mid.
Stale.
Mid.
I see what they're trying to do, but still, I was already gonna like. Okay, we'll go ahead into it later. But
No. Say what you want to say.
When I compare it to like an anime type of thing, I feel like when you're watching the anime, there's like certain episodes of the anime where like, oh, the manga still hasn't came out for like the newer episodes and shit like that. So the anime show releases episode that's like called filler and shit like that, where it's like shit that's still like kind of interesting and shit, but it's not fully tied into the story and supposedly not fully like canon to the story or whatever you want to call it with the anime world and shit like that. So I guess that's the way you could tie it to wrestling and shit.
So Saturday night's main event was a filler episode.
I feel like
that's tough. I mean,
an interesting filler episode though. That's why I call it like. That's why I compare it to that.
There was some ups and downs throughout the show. I think to call it a full filler episode is false because of how it ended. Mm-hmm. And especially with what happened after it went off air, which is kind of ironic, but there was definitely stories that were moved forward. But I mean, yeah, we can get into it. We can break it down a bit. So
I feel like a lot of these things could have happened on main events on Raw or SmackDown though, but I see what they're trying to do.
I mean, yeah. I guess I can see where you're coming from with some of the matches. I wanted to just kind of break down some of my overall thoughts on it, see how you feel about it. I feel like the first two matches, it started off solid, but also the pacing was like fast as shit. So we started off with, I believe, Sammy and Drew, and then the next match was Liv and Io, which were both solid matches, and I think they're all really good talents.
Especially the Liv and Io match, they were going crazy. But
it just all went by so quickly that by the time both matches were done, I wasn't able to be like fully bought into it, and it was just, I feel like it all went by so quickly.
I don't know if you saw, but it was a 2-hour show, and there's also commercial. Oh. Even though we probably had Peacock and able to go to like, give us a second. Oh, there's commercial break. Please wait, stand by, or whatever, some shit like that.
No, but that still eats into the time. And no, I 100%. Well, I was gonna get into that later, but I do 100% think that was one of the main things that held the show back, was the fact that we had a 5-match card and only 2 hours minus commercials to get everything done. Everything was moving so quickly. So it's basically
like an hour and a half show, if you want to think about
it. Exactly. So I think overall the pacing, it showed the most. It showed pretty much throughout the entire show, but it showed the most in those first 2 matches. I think like those flew by. Those fucking flew by, and I don't think got the time that they deserved. And as a result, didn't hit as hard, in my opinion. The triple threat match was pretty good. I actually think that's where the show started to pick up some real steam. I thought that Finn was doing his thing, being able to hang with 2 guys that he's obviously pretty undersized with in the ring. Gunther and Damian, as usual, doing great work. It was a really awesome match. I think it lost a bit of momentum, though, at the finish. I felt like Gunther just kind of hulking up out of nowhere and just deciding to beat the shit out of Damian and then beat the shit out of Finn and finish the match. it just again felt like a symptom of the show not having quite enough time, just like a few more minutes to let Gunther's kind of build up to that moment, kind of breathe a bit more.
But I guess like how you said it's part of the stories or whatever, because he went out there in one of the interviews saying like, "Oh, I feel good again."
No, and I think
After
it accomplished
fucking
that.
saying,
No,
yeah.
I think that it did everything it needed to do. I just think it could have been better had the finish been given a bit more time to kind of breathe properly. But overall, that was still one of the better matches on the entire show for sure.
I respect that.
I do no, it was definitely a strong match. It just felt like the Gunther thing just kind of came a bit out of nowhere. I did think that Chelsea Green's win was a big highlight of the night because
Historical moment.
it's exactly how it should have gone. That's what I was saying from the jump. I know I was
Chelsea Green,
very much not
big
alone
on
in that. I
Chelsea
think she was
Green,
one of the
yeah.
big favorites from a lot of the people I've seen online. It just felt like that was the person who exemplified the woman's mid card at its peak right now. Like someone who maximizes their minutes, to use that phrase. Like whenever she's on
I
camera.
think it's a lot of camera time. I've been saying.
And see, I disagree. I don't think she gets a lot of camera time.
But for compared
It's
to other,
memorable camera time. I think there's plenty of other acts on the mid card that get their backstage segments that are the same
not
thing.
weekly,
They get
like she
45
does.
fairly often, and there's plenty of weeks where she wouldn't be featured either. It's just the fact that what she did hit so hard and made us laugh and was so memorable. She played that like comedic heel character so well with the compliment of Piper Niven there to back her up that I think just overall, like I said, she exemplified the best of what it meant to be a mid-card wrestler overall, as far as taking advantage of whatever time you're given and making the most out of it. You know, making the most out of her matches. There's been plenty of moments. People even thought that she was a favorite. I had her as one of the favorites from Money in the Bank earlier this year.
Yeah.
And so she's had momentum for a while now. And it felt like this was the moment to finally pay that off and give her big win. It's not like she's going to have some monster title reign like a fucking Gunther, Roman Reigns ridiculous title run. But I think we're going to get some entertaining-ass matches. We're going to get so much heel connivery, all the great gimmick bullshit that she's going to try to pull out. And, yeah, I just think that it was a very well-deserved win and definitely one of the highlights of the show overall. I was very happy for her. I thought that it was just a great overall moment. I don't know. As someone who wasn't expecting the Chelsea win from the jump, how did you feel about it? Because who was your original prediction? Wasn't it Jade?
It was Jade, yeah.
Before
That's what I was
everything
really
obviously
thinking about,
happened, yeah.
Honestly, once I saw she made the final, I was like, yo, what's happening?
Well, to be fair, I would have been satisfied with either because I also think Michin this whole year has been another example of just like
It's not her time yet, though. She hasn't. She's been getting a little bit of time with all the matches. She did the fucking
I hear
trash
you on
match
that,
and
though,
shit
yeah.
like that and all
I hear
that
you.
bullshit. But I feel like I don't know. I feel that they're not really pushing her like that yet.
I just think that coming out of the whole what was it called, the OC, where it
With
was AJ Styles'
and
faction,
yeah.
coming out of that. Obviously, I think there's some injury stuff going on
But
with.
it's good for her with that. They're all the cuts that I've seen with the WWE roster.
I was
She's
just gonna
still
say that I
hanging
think
on, yeah.
she's one of the ones who's done probably the best coming out of that faction. Like obviously, I know the Good Brothers are down there in NXT still doing their thing when they can, injuries aside. But Michin has done really well to continue her momentum coming out of that. Like that would have been something that would have been really career stifling for a lot of people, but she's managed to kind of reinvent herself and go out there on her own and make her own name for herself, and I think that is very much to her credit. So
Especially
I think
in this packed women's division, bro.
I guess I cut you off, but my point was just to say that I think no matter who would have won in this final, I think it would have been a very deserving winner. But continue, as you were saying, that you felt like when the final was announced that Chelsea was the obvious winner, I guess.
Wait, what?
You felt like when the final was announced, like that was who it was gonna be, that Chelsea was gonna be the winner.
Oh yeah, I already felt 100% that she was gonna win, bro. As simple as that. I was like, bro, oh yeah, she's gonna definitely take it. I was like, oh, this was fucking right. She's taking it.
Deserved?
Deserved 100%.
Okay.
She's hilarious, like I said.
Okay.
You said.
Obviously the highlight of the night, as the earlier matches were going through, I was realizing, like, damn, they're trying to give as much time to this Cody match as possible. Like, that's the only reason you would be cutting all these other matches so short. So that was by far the best match of the night, and I think a lot of that was because it got enough time to really build throughout. I thought that the like references to Randy throughout from Kevin Owens were hilarious, obviously kind of furthering that feud, reminding the audience that that's still coming down the line eventually. Kevin Owens trying to hit the bionic elbow, one of the famous moves from the American Dream. I was trying to figure out where he was over there. That obviously Cody uses fairly frequently. So him trying to hit that, failing, and then Cody hitting it himself. Like, there was a lot of just like fun crowd popping moments throughout the match, and it was very obviously physical, emotional match. And then the referee shenanigans ended up being fucking awesome. Like, for a gimmick that is so played out, like the whole ref bump thing, like, this was a way that it was executed really well. Perfectly, obviously, KO getting that, like, win, but not a win that everyone, the whole audience counted. That means so much to his character, and that's one of the reasons why it worked so well. And then Charles Robinson, like, barely being able to get up at the end and count the pin, like, it worked really, really well for me. I thought that, like, instantly as it was happening, as Cody finally got the win, I was literally watching with my girlfriend telling her, like, bro, Kevin Owens is gonna crash the fuck out. Like, he was already lost it. This is gonna send him over the fucking deep end. And then what happens, I go on fucking Twitter after and all the shit's happened, but we'll get into that in a second. But from the match itself, the other thing that I noticed that I thought was really interesting, that I think is going to be fascinating to see where it goes, is Cody's character has gone to a level that we have not seen the American Nightmare go to on WWE programming since his return. Mm-hmm. Him going to that darker place and being willing to bend the rules and do things that your typical white meat babyface wouldn't do. You know, I was thinking about Prime Cena in the, like, Cena wins LOL era of WWE. Would Cena have ever done something like that? Absolutely not. Cena kicks that chair out of the ring, looks at the crowd, you can't see me, hits the attitude adjustment, gets the 1, 2, 3, and everyone goes home knowing our hero won the right way. Cody Rhodes said, fuck that shit, I'm putting you on this chair. Like, I thought that was fascinating to see that our good guy champ that everyone loves is, like, going to that darker place a bit.
Homelander Cody.
And then, can I tell you what the other awesome part about it is? Because of what happens after the show, he's not even here to explain his actions. He can't even come out on the next episode of Raw or SmackDown or at this press conference kickoff show that they did recently for Netflix. Like, he can't even come out and explain himself. He just has to sit at home with his neck brace on and fucking chill with the dog and think about what he's done. And KO gets to go around to all the shows, interrupting the kickoff show. I'm sure he's going to be appearing on SmackDown later this week.
Yep.
And he's going to get to make his case to the world about why KO is right. And it's very fascinating. I'm like, are they dipping their toes in the water to see if a Cody heel turn is going to work? Are they just trying to show that this has gotten Cody to such a level where he's willing to do things he normally would? Like, it's fucking actually got me so fascinated to see, where does Cody go from here? How does the audience continue to react to KO? Because right now he's getting booed, but is he going to get people on his side? Like, this story, by far, the best shit that Cody has had since he won the title. This is awesome. Ever since the beginning with the Turn It Bad Blood, where it happened again off screen, it's just been fascinating. And KO has put his all into this evil Kevin Owens character that he's doing, this based Kevin Owens, however you want to put it. But, I guess fascinated with this whole thing is going. And finally, that brings us to everything that happened after the show goes off air. Kevin Owens fucking package pile driver to Cody Rhodes, fucking smacks his ass head straight onto the mat. And then he goes over and gets in a little shoving contest with the big dog, Triple H.
He literally smacked the title on his hand.
So it just seems like, holy shit, Kevin Owens is going off the deep end here. I am just fascinated to see where this is all going.
He thinks he's the champion, bro.
That's what we saw today, earlier today when we're recording this at the Netflix kickoff show on YouTube that they had. Yeah, that he storms in and starts proclaiming that he's the true champion, that he's going to be defending his championship on the upcoming live show tour that they have coming up. Like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I believe recently they did this in AEW with Punk, where he was claiming that he was like the actual AEW champion and like that didn't really fully play out properly because of I don't know if it was when Punk got injured or if this was around the time when other stuff was going on, but my point is that we have seen this attempted multiple times in the past. That's just the most recent example I can remember, but this is a time where it feels like it's actually going to be executed properly, I hope, because of the way that KO's just so scorching hot right now. And they seem to be really treating the pile driver with a lot of respect, keeping Randy off of TV, keeping Cody off of TV for the time being. I feel like they're hitting all of the right beats so far that are selling it in a way that makes KO feel believable as a fucking just insane dude who's gone completely off the deep end and will attack anyone at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And the thing is we've talked about it on this fucking channel. KO's got some points, man. Like, KO might be right in some ways.
Wow.
That's the awesome thing about Triple H's creative is that we've seen a lot more of this gray area, like Walter White type of shit, where it's like, yeah, I root for him, I'm sympathetic for him because of the things he's going through, but then he does all this fucked up shit, and it's like hard for me to justify it now, and it's like, I appreciate that WWE is stepping into this realm of like, your more complex heels and baby faces, you know what I mean? And I mean, yeah, it's just been really interesting to see. Really, really interesting to see. My overall thoughts on Saturday night's main event, just to give you where I'm coming from, and I'm curious to hear yours as well. I feel like the card looked a lot better on paper
Definitely.
than what it ended up being.
Definitely.
And I think that's exactly like you said. It's the nature of you've got 5 matches in 2 hours minus commercials. That's tough to pull off when the matches are supposed to be PLE level matches, which are normally 3 hours or more with limited commercial interruptions. Those matches are given a lot more space to breathe. And so unfortunately, I do think the quality of the matches suffered. This is my main takeaway, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Future future Saturday nights main events that they have, because I don't know if you saw, but this is going to be a thing multiple times a year.
Yeah.
I believe 4 times a year. So the next one is coming up not too long from now, and I think late January in Texas. For these future shows, let's bring it down to 4 matches. You know, maybe even 3 with like promo segments and stuff in between. But I think the 5 matches is pushing it just a bit. Unless that's just what these are supposed to be. And it's like a show for a more casual audience that's not tuning in on a week-to-week basis. And they just want to try and promote as much awesome talent doing cool stuff in the ring as they can. Because we can't deny the show was full of that shit. Even the matches that we feel like, from a story perspective, the pacing was a bit quick. The in-ring action itself was like impressive if you had never watched wrestling or if you used to watch wrestling and were thinking about getting back into it.
Definitely.
It would be a show that would get
100%.
me back into it. So if that's what it's for, then fine. You accomplish what you're going for.
Like you said, on television and shit like that.
Because, yeah, it's on NBC. This is a different type of show. And if it's a different type of show for a different audience, job well done. But if you want to make this more canon, less fillery, as you kind of said earlier, I think slimming down the match card itself to give those other matches time to breathe.
Give good promos.
And maybe mix in a promo segment here and there from a big star. I think that would be pretty good. I'm curious. So how do you feel about that? And what are your overall thoughts on main event?
like I said, too rushed. Everything felt like, oh yeah, everything was interesting. Everything, all the stories they were trying to tell and shit like that. But like it just, like you said, it felt rushed. It was like all quick, and it's done, bro. And that's it.
So how do you feel about my idea?
Definitely would be better. 3 matches that like lead up that are actually like story based. One of them might lead to like a title switch or some shit like that, and then like I said, maybe like 2 or 3 good fucking promos or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's just one, but if you make it count, like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought you might get a Cena appearance to kind of kick off the retirement tour.
That'd
You know
be
what
cool,
I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Show
just
up on the first main event.
you
and shit,
you only
yeah.
need like 4 minutes, you know, to come out, do the entrance, cut a quick thing, maybe 6 minutes.
Too busy, bro.
Give him enough time to
He's
get the
too busy,
crowd
bruh.
super popped, and yeah, I guess, but fuck, he's fine for real, dude. Like, it just felt like a good opportunity again, like you said,
Beach.
on a different channel, on a different platform than they're normally on, to try and capture a more casual audience, show off some of your bigger stars that people might recognize, to try and get them more invested in what's going on. And look, if you're trying to get your newer stars over, fair enough. Like, I'm happy that, like, the fact that people might have just been channel surfing on that Saturday night and ended up seeing, like,
Fucking main event.
yeah, like, that's awesome to think that they would have seen, like, potentially Chelsea Green winning the fucking United States Championship,
first
or like
time ever and shit.
Io Sky pulling out some dope shit. Like, there's a lot of cool shit that happened on the show that it would have been cool for just fans to see, or people who are potential fans to see.
They're gonna come and shit again.
But I guess, maybe that's just us as, like, the diehards, as the fucking marks. Maybe we misinterpreted what this show was gonna be. But
no, I definitely saw what it was supposed to be when it was like, oh, they were talking about how the casual would turn on the TV or whatever and fucking.
But I still thought with the card itself that we would have a bit more oomph behind it.
I did feel like the whole throwback vibe though. That shit felt dope.
No, I'll do that. Actually, yes, we'll finish on that. The presentation was top tier.
I was able
bro.
to watch it live, so I was like, bro, this shit's actually chill as fuck, bro.
The presentation was awesome. The way when they were entering, that the shit was so tight with the fans, and so if
Like
they
old
had that
school
old
type of
school
shit,
energy, yeah. The ropes with the red, white, and blue colors and everything, the old school logos, having Jesse Ventura out there. So how did you feel about that?
Interesting.
Jesse the Body.
This was an interesting guy.
Nah,
bro.
it's a safe space.
Nah, bro.
Say what you want to say.
I fuck with Jesse Ventura. I used to watch his fucking show on Spike TV, I think it was. Fucking where he was like the conspiracy theorist guy or whatever. And shit like that.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a good guy, bro.
Okay.
he's a chill guy, bro.
How did you feel about his commentary?
That was going at Cuddy, bro.
He was going at him pretty hard.
Cody, bro.
He was going at him pretty hard.
How do you feel about that? I was a straight Cody fan. I'm a little bit of a Cody fan, but I was like, bro, damn, he's going a little too hard this week. Chill, bro.
So, I mean, I understood what he was trying to say. And, like, he was making fair points. Like I said, like, Cody's character took a direction that is different. So, he's got some shit that, hey, he needs to be called out for.
He wants him to be all cool.
He was playing the heel pretty hard, though. He was playing the heel pretty hard.
That shit was funny as fuck.
No, I did think it was funny.
You got Pat McAfee, too, bro.
That was obviously fun to have him back. I'm a big fan of his, but I don't know how I feel about bringing him back, Jesse Ventura, for like all the main event shows. I thought it was cool for a one-off.
That fool definitely doesn't know what he's saying.
It felt like, like it felt like a lot to try and have Michael Cole manage. Like, the clip even came out of him having to like explain everything in between the commercial. I don't know if you saw that.
To him?
There was a clip that came out on Twitter that was like, well, it happened during the show. I was just fast forwarding through the commercials, so I didn't see it. But during commercials, they somehow fucked up with the audio to where you could still hear the commentators during the commercials. And so you have to listen like through the commercial, so it's kind of hard to hear. But you could hear Michael Cole giving Pat and Jesse like kind of just like catching them up to date as far as like so it was something about like Kevin Owens not being willing to attack Cody Rhodes' injury in their previous match at like Clash at the Castle or wherever it was when they had their or Bash in Berlin, I think, recently. And how KO now is obviously like way more willing to fucking go at that full. He's just like basically trying to get them up to speed on the story of the match.
That's wild, yeah.
And like, look, respect to Michael Cole and respect to Pat McAfee and Jesse Ventura. They have a lot going on. I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why they don't quite have everything up to date when they're coming into it. But I do feel like you're putting a whole hell of a lot on Michael Cole's plate. Like, Corey Graves, to me, is a really good heel commentator. I don't think he gets his credit. And I think Corey Graves does a fine job at giving the heel their just due. And maybe Corey wouldn't have gone as hard on Cody for using the chair and other stuff like that. Like, that's why I said, for this match, it worked really well because Jesse was able to highlight kind of the heel nature of some of Cody's actions and put a spotlight on that and give people a bit more of a platform to say maybe KO is right. However, going forward, is it something we need to do every single time? I don't know. I'm willing to be wrong on it. Like, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful here because obviously I know the dude's an absolute legend. So this isn't me trying to say like, oh, hang that shit up, put the fries in the bag, bro. Like, this is not one of those. But I'm just saying, with all due respect, it might be better if we have people who are like fully invested in the product to be able to tell the stories of these matches. You know what I mean?
Same thing with Pat though.
And no, 100%. And that's on the fact that Pat just goes back and forth from all these different things. I guess to me, the benefit that Pat has is his character is someone who is a bit clueless. He's supposed to just be there to be the kind of reaction guy and the energy guy. And when it's just him and Michael Cole, their chemistry to me is like so flawless because they really do seem to get along well with one another.
Michael Cole loves that fool.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, those two, it works. But then when you put it both two other people on Michael Cole's plate that he has to like, okay, dude, I have to tell you that. Okay, dude, I have to. Okay, dude, I have to. Like, it's just like, damn, bro. Like,
that's funny.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And again, it worked for this match. I'm not trying to say for this match it was bad. I've just seen a lot of people marking out pretty hard for Jesse Ventura online. And I get it. We all love nostalgia.
Old school, yeah.
We all love nostalgia. I'm just saying maybe going forward, let's use it when it's appropriate and not over lean on it just for the sake of it. But, again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If he comes back again for the next one in Texas and does a great job and continues to shine, then fuck it. I would happily be wrong on this because if that would just mean that the product is better. And that's all I want to see. But I just have seen, like I said, a lot of love for this fool. And I'm like, hey, let's temper ourselves a tad bit.
That one was awkward a little bit.
Just a tad. Just a tad.
I saw the one foot he put him with in the beginning. He was like...
with Joe Tez?
Yeah. You didn't really know how to reply to him and shit.
That shit was pretty funny, bro. That shit was... Exactly, man. Exactly. But overall, main event, kind of mid-event. Not gonna lie.
6.5 out of 10 for me.
I think that's a fair score, yeah. The shit after the show elevated it a lot because it actually gave it a lot of storyline.
After show. Why is with the after shows, bro? Stop fucking using
time constraints. Time constraints.
Go back to 3 hours.
I know. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Raw on Netflix is not gonna be 3 hours.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Whatever.
Drew McIntyre has finally returned, and I think he's Batman. Hear me out. This is my theory.
Oh, my lord.
Do you remember...
Why would I feel like you're agreeing with all the people who are, like, fucking centered and fucking...
Self-centered?
Yeah, believe they're all right and shit like that. Yes, they're, like, somewhat right, but not fully right for, like, what the shit they do and shit.
I just feel like when people got an axe to grind, if they're valid in what happened... Hear me out.
Okay, but why do you have to kill Randy Orton? Why do you have to kill Cody?
Hear me out. Okay, it's not a perfect comparison. But do you remember at the end of The Dark Knight? I'm pretty sure it was The Dark Knight. The one with Harvey Dent.
The Dark Knight has never killed the Joker.
What's the one with Harvey Dent? Is that the first or the second
That's
one?
the first one with the Joker.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember at the end of the first one when goddamn... he has to, like, convince the whole city that he was actually the bad guy and that Harvey Dent was the good guy just so that he could fucking protect the city, but he's actually the one that's trying to save everyone.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's.
I feel like that's kind of Drew McIntyre. Everyone loves Roman Reigns. Everyone pops for Roman. We love the tribal chief now, even though he hasn't really changed. And Drew McIntyre, despite the fact that it makes people hate him, has to go out there and be the one to try and protect the WWE, aka the city of Gotham. Despite the fact that people perceive him to be the villain for it.
You're saying he's protecting the WWE.
He's trying to.
He's protecting the WWE.
People forget that the Bloodline was a fucking menace.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
He got kind of fucked over.
But is it the same Bloodline?
Has Roman changed? I don't know. He hasn't apologized.
Has Jay changed? Has Sammy changed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would he let that shit happen again? Where they're like just doing whatever and just fucking...
Roman is Roman. And that, to me, he's the head honcho. And as long as the head honcho is the same Roman he's always been, I feel like people like Drew and KO are going to have kind of valid ground to stand on with their points. And I think, in particular, Drew, because KO's on his whole other, like, petty scenario crash out thing he's doing. But Drew is literally doing this to try and protect WWE. I'm not trying to say I agree with everything he's done on his path to get here. However, I think Drew McIntyre, this current iteration that we're seeing, I think he's Batman. I think he's Batman. Am I tripping? What? Tell me.
You're kind of tripping. I don't know if he's protecting WWE. Who is he protecting the WWE from exactly?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns?
And look, I acknowledge my tribal chief. Like, I'm not trying to...
So you think... What do you think he's going to do then? To sabotage Roman Reigns considering his fucking story right now or whatever?
We'll see. That Ulafala match is coming up. Who knows?
So... What's going on in, like, Batman terms? It's like the Joker fighting the Penguin right now or some shit. In the fucking, this one has to intervene or some shit before, like, they fucking destroy the city or some shit, bro. Is that what you're fucking saying, dog?
Like I said, it's not a perfect comparison. It's not a perfect comparison.
The Joker fighting Bane, dog? What the fuck? They're gonna about to blow each other up?
I mean, that wouldn't be good for Gotham, though, would it? You know? All that destruction that it would bring. And I think he's been pretty clear that he has his problems with Solo too still. Like, I just think that Drew is justified right now in a lot of his actions. Obviously, the whole Punk feud was something totally different. But with the way that he's come back on this, like, anti-bloodline, how are you guys not still pissed at this guy energy? To me, I think that carries a lot of weight, man, because like I've said, the bloodline, Roman Reigns' bloodline, terrorized the main event scene of WWE for years on end. This guy was allergic to winning a match clean. Like, it was nonstop fuckery and shenanigans. And for Drew, who was someone who had a really big moment that was fucked over by those shenanigans, how is he not justified to go after them? Well, I mean, yeah, I don't have too much more to add. I just think that Drew, as much as he will continue to get booed and will continue to be hated, like, I was one of the people who, from my bedroom, as I watched the shows on my computer, was booing Drew McIntyre at my monitor.
Yeah.
During the Punk shit.
Yeah.
Because, bro, you tweaking. You just tweaking. Like, hating. Yeah, Punk did fuck you over on some moments. Hating. But, bro, you tweaking. Like, relax. And we love Punk. So let's be real. But this Drew,
he has a cape on.
I kind of think he's got a cape on. I kind of think, oh, man, can I do a... Because I can kind of do, like, a bit of a Dark Knight impression. But I don't know if I can make it a scootish Dark Knight impression. And now I'm Drew McIntyre, the Dark Knight. I live in the shadows, and I will attack the bloodline.
That's kind of how he talked to Seth during this past fucking Raw.
Seth freaking Rollins, why don't you understand? We have to come together to attack the bloodline. We fucking hate Roman Reigns. I'm wearing a skirt. My throat, I can't.
That was a good impression. 7 out of 10.
My Dark Knight impression usually gets a pop. Making it Scottish is tough, though. That's a tough one, which is ironic, because Christian Bale is like Welsh or some shit, I think. Do you know that? He's not American?
Did not know that.
I figured that out like a while ago, but like not too long ago. And I remember when I figured that out being like, holy shit.
That was related to Gareth Bale or what?
I don't know. I fuck. Maybe, what if I said he's Welsh just because of that? Nah, I think he is.
Watch this will start being racist now.
Nah.
Chat. This is live on camera.
Okay, he's British, not Welsh. It was kind of racist.
To them it is. To them it is.
I'm sorry. I did, yeah. I thought it was cool.
They hate each other for some reason.
Fuck. Drew McIntyre's Batman.
Go. I don't believe in that, but yeah, sure.
Fuck you.
I feel he's just like pushing his way into like the main title push and shit. To like try to like make WWE his way type of shit.
I feel like it's literally just vendetta against the bloodline. That's it. That's it.
Hey, it's Roman Reigns, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that one, Laddie.
You fucked him over.
I don't know about that one, Laddie.
Fucked him over. God damn it, it made me so fucking happy that the War Raiders are actually like legitimately over.
Yeah, they deserved the push.
And they fucking deserve it, bro. And when I say over, I mean that in a couple ways. Like, yes, they won the titles. That's a big deal for them. But a lot of people win titles and it doesn't really carry into anything. Like, that could be a big deal, but it could also be pretty meaningless. Can I tell you the moment that actually got me like excited in my chair watching the show? It was towards the end of the match, and forgive me, I don't remember if it was Eric or Ivar that was in the ring at the moment, but one of the two of them started like trying to hype up the crowd, going like, war, 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 like right before the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And like in matches sometimes like it doesn't really work, and like the crowd will chant because the crowd's there to have fun, so they're gonna chant along, but like they don't get super into it. But I started seeing people like standing up, and like it was a whole, like it felt like the energy was like really behind them, and that genuinely made me smile because I have been a massive fan of the War Raiders ever since I was watching them as the Viking Raiders. And even though their gimmick was corny as fuck, I just felt like you've got these insanely massive dudes that could do some of the most entertaining, athletic shit on the fucking roster. How are you not trying to push this? And it felt like they didn't see the vision. I don't know why, but they've pulled them off of TV for a while, brought them back with a refreshed gimmick that still carries the same energy, but just isn't as corny. Let's drop the whole Viking bullshit and just make a badass like
more
biker dudes.
Reckless,
yeah, like
don't give a fuck type of shit.
Exactly, and they've just fucking ran with it, and literally like I'm just so happy to see that they finally got their big moment of winning the titles. I'm really fucking happy that the Judgment Day aren't holding those fuckers hostage anymore, because that shit was frustrating. And obviously like it's not JD McDonough and Finn Balor's fault. I'm sure if it was up to them, they'd be wrestling more often as well. But just the way that the booking has gone recently.
You Finn, you win.
Obviously, yeah, of course, you got to just listen to Finn. But it just, the booking did not work as far, because the problem is the Judgment Day is so center focused on the Liv Rhea Dominic whole love triangle feud that's been going on, and there's so little time left over for Finn and JD to do their little side quests as tag team champions. It just they didn't need the belts. They're already significant in another storyline as it is. Just let the tag team division thrive on its own without that. And for some reason, it took them long as fuck to finally get there. But finally, the tag team division on Monday Night Raw has been freed. And hopefully, this will allow the tag team division to thrive coming into the whole Netflix era that we're entering into. But just overall, the War Raiders, like, obviously, it ties in as well with the promos that they were cutting on Raw that night as well. Like, talking about all the extensive injuries and all the grinding that they've had to go through to get to this moment. Like, in so many different ways, they truly deserved that moment. And I'm just so fucking happy to see it finally happen. As someone who's been a fan of theirs ever since the shittier days, it's really dope to finally see them have their moment. And I'm hoping that they have a strong title run, get some good defenses, and eventually whenever they drop it, I hope that they don't fall into just obscurity again, because the talent, just the jaw-dropping shit that they're able to do, if you...
the big-ass motherfuckers they are, bro.
Bro, like, if you book this tag team properly, you should be looking at one of the best tag teams in the world. Like, I don't just say that because I'm a fan. Like, the shit that they do is genuinely fucking stupid. And so if you just book that properly, to me, there's no reason that they aren't...
It's the last few of their kind, bro, because it's like Dudley Bros type of vibes, type of shit,
Fuck yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it just... to me... I was talking to my girlfriend about it as we were watching the show together, and I was telling her, like, the biggest thing that I feel like if I was trying to sell someone on the idea of the War Raiders, what I would say is this. If you're a new fan who's never watched wrestling before and you sit down and watch that full episode of Monday Night Raw, you're going to come away from it wanting to see multiple people again. There's going to be a lot of things that interest you. One of the things that's definitely going to catch your attention and you're definitely going to want to see again is those big-ass fucking white dudes that were tatted the fuck up flipping around the ring. Because that doesn't even compute properly in my brain. And I want to see it again because it's exciting. Exactly. It's just exciting. And so I'm just hoping that they continue this positive momentum going forward into the new year. I don't know, I know I've just kind of been ranting here. What was your reaction to the War Raiders getting that win?
I already told you, bro. It was well deserved. I think I already said it earlier, bro. I seen a lot of people online very excited about it. And bro, good for them and shit, bro. Especially the Judgment Day, instead of them just sitting in the back fucking doing their little segments where they're just sitting with the titles and shit like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, bro.
I appreciate at least, this is the one positive I'll give them, the Judgment Day, is that they were willing to allow it to be acknowledged how stupid it was that this title run had been going on for so long. Like, recently there was an episode where Adam Pearce had the line about, like, it takes an act of Congress to get you guys to defend the tag titles, but you want, like, the fucking, I forget what they wanted, the, like, World Heavyweight Championship match or something. But, I just appreciate that they'll at least acknowledge that, like, hey, we kind of fucked up with these tag titles right now. And it made me feel like they were on the verge of dropping it after hearing that. Mm-hmm. And what is it? It's like 2-3 weeks later, here we are. So I'm happy that, like we said, finally tag division can kind of move forward, because as we're seeing on SmackDown, that could be really effective. Like, look at everything that DIY is doing. The Motor City Machine Guns had a great run. Obviously, for a little bit earlier in the year, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were able to have a run of being over for a bit. I would love to see some of that happening on Raw. I feel like what you got happening with the New Day and kind of them interacting with LWO and different things. Like, the tag division is ready to pop on Raw if they're just given a chance. So, I think we'll see some shit soon. We'll see. Man. This has got to be one of the biggest topics in wrestling right now. And can I tell you what gets me so fucking geeked about it? Boy got some motherfucking yickets. Your boy is gonna be in the building.
This is probably your favorite topic to talk about.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I have been tweaking out with all of these announcements and shit.
On his Instagram going crazy.
Bro.
Crazy.
Raw on Netflix debut is looking like it's gonna be an absolute fucking movie. They're going to Netflix, so drop a movie. Fuck it.
Before Mania, bro.
It makes sense. We're getting Baby Mania on Raw. The matches that we have announced already. Roman versus Solo, as LA Knight puts it, for the Oofalafa.
CM Punk versus Rollins.
CM Punk versus Seth fucking Rollins. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. That's literally like WrestleMania levels of a card right there.
100%.
I don't even know what to say.
And that's not even all of it yet.
I think there's a good chance we get some sort of interaction between KO and Cody. Maybe not a match, but some sort of interaction.
Depending how long it is, I'll say it's going to be 2 hours, but someone here believes it's going to be 3 hours.
I do believe that it actually might have been confirmed by Triple H or Nick Khan. Because they did a press event, I believe a week or two ago, in Los Angeles talking about the move to Netflix. And I think that's one of the things that might have been covered. I know, I don't want to like jinx it, but I'm pretty sure we're going back to 3 hours. Or at least like no time limit. Because it's Netflix, so like they could go however long they want or however short they want. That's kind of what I hope it is that they go to a point where there's no time limit. And if it's a week where a 2-hour episode makes the most sense to get the most entertaining but tight, like not dragged out episode of content, then make it a couple hours. But if you have a show where maybe even 3 hours and 15 minutes, because there's some shit that needs to go on a little longer, do it. So that's what personally, that's my hope, is that they just leave it to be fluid.
I don't know.
But yeah, I guess.
Because what's the reason why did they cut Raw for 2 hours?
There's no way it's going to just be 2 hours on Netflix, like hard capped at 2 hours. I strongly disagree with that. And so, with that in mind...
How long are the longest shows on Netflix? How long are the longest shows on Netflix? Like
the longest shows? Like movies, you mean?
No, like shows, just the longest.
TV shows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there's not a show that's like wrestling. Wrestling's already longer than your average show. A typical TV show is only an hour long, max, regardless. Like an episode of like a Breaking Bad or something. That's an hour, you know? With commercials and everything, obviously. So, obviously, wrestling in and of itself is just naturally longer than normal TV shows. So, that's not really a good comparison.
But
Netflix,
but it's supposed to be
like, they just did the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. That shit ran, like, 6 hours, I'm pretty sure, with, like, all the undercard fights and pre-show shit, pre-fight shit and everything. Like,
fair, pussy.
So, I'm pretty sure they could stream however long they want. That's not an issue.
So, you think it's going to be, like, a Raw live stream type of thing where it's like, oh... It might go like 3 hours and 15 minutes sometimes. And shit.
Like I said, that's my hope, is that it'll just be kind of a fluid thing. I don't think they're gonna have a hard cap. I'm sure they'll have like an approximate aim. Like we aim for 3 hours every week. But if it's a little shorter or a little longer, then it is what it is. But that's my assumption. But I mean, to me, that's by far not the most like.
We'll see, bro.
That there's bigger shit than the time.
That's an interesting take for. It's like you're saying it's going to be like a live stream almost.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, though. I mean, it's like we're moving into a new era of content in WWE. But to me, like I said, I don't think that that's the most interesting thing here, honestly, is the amount of the length of the show. When we're looking at this card here, like, I don't think that how long it is the biggest deal. Because if anything, why I think you're wrong that it's going to be short is look at the card that we're already getting. There's no way this is a 2-hour show with Roman versus Solo. Roman versus Solo is going to be 40 minutes, probably damn near in and of itself. 30 minutes. Like, Roman matches are just long. Seth versus Punk, that's not going to be a 15-minute match. Liv versus Rhea might be around 15, but that's at the low end. Like, it's not going to be a short match. These are long matches. It's going to be a long show.
Imagine we get a 5-hour Raw.
That might be a bit much, because they've tried that with WrestleMania before, and that didn't work. And so if it doesn't work with WrestleMania, I don't think it works with Monday Night Raw. But like I said, if it goes over or under by like 30-ish minutes, I don't think that's a problem around that 3-hour window. Assuming there's still some commercials in there. But that's another thing. We still don't know all the details with commercials and stuff. So who knows? That will obviously drastically impact the runtime of the shows as well.
Into Slim Jim.
I think the people that are assuming there's going to be no commercials are really optimistic. Because there's just no way they're going to leave that money on the table. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways. You took that conversation in a much different direction than I was expecting. I was more so trying to get your thoughts on, like, the debut and are you excited for the card? You know?
Fuck yeah, bro. We'll see, bro.
You think it's going to be a good show?
Like I told you, it's going to be interesting where, like, the timeline goes. Because if it's a 2-hour show, cool. But, like, you got a nice little 3-hour show, yeah. Bet. Cool. We'll see.
You literally think that they would make it a 2-hour Netflix Raw? You really think that?
Triple H really talks about that he likes the idea and, like, going forward he wants to, like, do it and shit.
Where has he said that?
At a press conference before, I forgot which one it was. I think it was before main event not main event. It was like after they went. I forgot which one it was, bro.
I doubt it, man. I doubt it. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, what are you expecting for the debut on Netflix? Are you expecting anything big? Are you into what are your what's your wish list? That's a better way to phrase it.
Wish list.
Be realistic. Don't be stupid.
Wish list.
But if you could ask for a few things from the Raw Netflix debut, what are you hoping for? What's on Luis's wish list for Raw?
Raw premiere. Punk beating Seth, 1.
Okay.
1. Punk beating Seth, 1. 2, maybe heavyweight title change.
You want to see Gunther on that bitch? Okay.
Losing it.
They teased it a bit earlier today with the kickoff show on YouTube that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, because they talked kind of about like a potential feud between him and Logan Paul that was teased a bit. But then they also teased that he might just be on the show in general. I don't know if that'll be for
It's gonna be no show.
A title match. I'm assuming at the very least we get a Gunther promo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if we get a match.
It'll be dope to see.
Day 1. We'll see.
It'll be dope to get.
I'd love to, but we'll see.
Number 3.
Do you have any big returns on your wish list, Lise? Because there's been some
Final
big
boss.
returns that have been winked at.
No, honestly, John Cena.
Okay.
I want to see who John Cena's gonna. What direction he's gonna go? Because I know this is the show where.
Do you think he's gonna wrestle, or do you think it's just gonna be a promo?
He's probably gonna cut. He's probably gonna cut a promo and talking what direction, but someone's gonna interrupt him and fucking he's gonna have to wrestle them that night.
You think that's how it's gonna
go?
go?
Because there's no way he's not gonna wrestle that night.
See, that's what I've been hoping for as someone who is
the
going. I've been praying that we get to see Cena wrestle.
Because this is
but
like,
part of me feels like it could just be a promo and like announcing that like all
it's gonna be
the
promo,
Rumble.
but he's also gonna wrestle because this is gonna be like, oh, this is supposedly his farewell to. This is what he used to do. No, he used to come and cut a promo, so they'll come and fucking try.
No, that's the classic recipe. Yeah, classic recipe. I hope you're right, brother. I really do. I just have been fucking trying to temper my expectations so I don't get disappointed. But the final boss is also an interesting call. And can I tell you why? So as someone who, again, I got tickets for the fucking, like, during the pre-sale. Like, I was locked in early.
Jesus, motherfucker, bro.
I needed it. I needed this in my life. So I've been paying very close attention to all the promotion and stuff they've been doing. And pretty early on, I want to say about a month ago, they started doing the Raw Netflix commercial during the shows and everything like that on TV. They've been re-editing it as it's been out. So like the initial cut had like your typical stars, like your Codys, Your fucking like Liv Morgan is featured in it. I want to say Rhea's in it. Like it's just your typical Gunther, your big stars, right? And towards the end, I believe there was a shot with John Cena in it, which made me think, oh, maybe that confirms that like Cena's gonna be appearing on the first show. But then I was like, who knows? Like maybe it's because he's also just gonna be appearing later. You never know. But they re-edited this commercial recently, and they added something very interesting towards the very end of the commercial, where the music that's playing kind of cuts out, and it goes, finally, and it shows a shot of the final boss.
Yeah, I seen that.
And then it continues on with the rest of the commercial. That was added like a week or two after the initial commercial had started being shown. As someone who's been overanalyzing this shit, to me, I popped for that. Because that was my confirmation of like, holy shit.
You're seeing the final boss?
The final boss might show up. I don't know if I'm just insane and overanalyzing shit to like way too deep of a level. But to add him into that commercial, it feels like, hey, man. And then what do they announce as the first match? Roman versus Solo for the Ulafala. And what match would it make so much sense for him to have some sort of interference or involvement in? Roman versus Solo for the Ulafala. I have seen so many people on this website, YouTube.com. So many people on the other website, Twitter.com, whatever they call it now, saying that the show is going to end with Roman Reigns pinning Solo Sikoa, putting on the Ulafala, and then the final boss music hits and it ends with a stare down between The Rock and Roman. It just seems like the ending that's the most obvious. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. I'm not going to say that's going to happen because I don't want to get my hopes up and then get disappointed.
I don't know that's going to happen before Mania.
But, you got to start hyping up the match if that's what you want to potentially do. It seems like my final point. Los Angeles, California. Netflix spent $5 billion to acquire Monday Night Raw. And this is the debut show. So you're in a massive market. The second biggest market in the country. Trying to impress your new boss, essentially, who just spent a fuck ton of money on this show for a 10-year relationship. They signed a 10-year contract.
That's crazy.
I feel like you want to impress the Netflix people who you just assume will be in the building because it's Los Angeles. There's going to be Netflix execs in the building. There's going to be all sorts of prominent people from TKO. Like, it's going to be a big thing.
Motherfuckers gonna pop. They want you to pop.
You don't think exactly. Like, bro, they want to pull out their big toys and show people, hey, you spent good money. Look at what we have. Look at my stuff. My shit's cool as fuck. You know Triple H wants to pull every trick out of the bag. That's why the first 3 matches that have been announced could have legitimately all main evented a WrestleMania with the proper booking.
Mm-hmm.
That's not on accident. I do think that this show is going to be generational. And again, I'm not trying to oversell it because I'm like not trying to set myself up to be disappointed. But dude, this is going to be epic. This is going to be fucking epic. And I'll tell, for the people out there, I know you know this, but the people out there don't. I've never even been to an episode of Raw before. I've been to one WWE show. It was like a year ago. It was a house show. It was awesome, but it was a house show.
That's fire.
Like, it's so different, you know? This, oh my gosh.
Full-on taped show and
Oh
shit.
my gosh. Bro, I'm gonna be on Netflix.
Yup.
I'm gonna be on Netflix.
Yup.
My stupid little face.
Cody Rhodes.
I'm gonna be popping on Netflix, bro.
Sick ass.
That shit's crazy, man.
W's, bro.
It's gonna be a movie, man. So put it on Netflix. Fuck it. As the year is winding down, I think now is the time to start reflecting on the year that we have just had. And 2024 in professional wrestling was a phenomenal year, particularly for WWE. Just absolutely out of this world. Like, truly could be argued, I think, one of the best years of WWE ever. But, excuse me, beer burp. That is an argument for another day. Today, I want to ask you, who is the best wrestler of 2024? And there's a lot of names that deserve some recognition. And so I'm going to give you my personal nominees. And I'm going to give you my winner. And you tell me if you agree, disagree, if you think I'm a dipshit, whatever. So my first nominee here for Best Wrestler of 2024, might surprise some people out there, Dominic Mysterio. I think that he deserves some credit, man. Like, as far as being able to get that heat as a heel, even if it is a bit tongue-in-cheek, you know, we kind of have fun booing him, but regardless, the reactions are there. The ability to go from a heel to a super heel at SummerSlam. I've never seen a heel turn heel. That was amazing. I just think that his consistency, despite the fact that people might call him, a Nepo baby, and despite the fact that obviously physically he doesn't match up with a lot of the talent on the roster, he makes it fucking work, dude. He makes it fucking work. He's hilarious. He's engaging. I think Dom has had a phenomenal year, and I think he has to be in the conversation. Liv Morgan. If we're talking about Dominic Mysterio, you can't talk about Dom without Liv. And I think that, yes, Rhea is huge, like one of the biggest stars of the women's division right now. However, through injury, it just wasn't necessarily the biggest year for Rhea. Like, there was some time off of TV, and it's tough because, like, the first half of 2024 was definitely the year of Rhea Ripley. But Liv Morgan has taken the ball and fucking ran with it, dude. And, like, love her or hate her, like, she can be fucking annoying as shit.
Such
but
an asshole, but
that's her fucking job, man. Like, honestly, like, so there's a separate conversation that we will have at a later date, which is, like, the most improved, the biggest, like, up-and-comer, whatever, however you want to put it, of 2024. And to me, that might, spoiler alert, might definitely be Liv Morgan. Because to go from kind of just mid-card no man's land to now one of the premier stars of the women's division and just WWE in general, she's had a phenomenal year. And so if we're talking Wrestler of the Year, you can't have that conversation without at least mentioning Liv Morgan.
Fair.
I'm going to throw a name into the mix that some people might think is a bit controversial, but I don't give a fuck. Solo Sikoa.
No.
I don't care, man.
No.
Let me at least give you the case.
I know where you're coming from, but no.
I'm going to make my fucking case. Alright?
Go ahead, but no.
He started the year as Roman Reigns' lackey.
Mm-hmm.
As his kind of hitman.
Mm-hmm.
Never even said anything.
Mm-hmm.
He just walked around and looked menacing.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania happens. Roman Reigns disappears. Solo Sikoa steps into the limelight, and from day one, I acknowledged Solo. I still acknowledge my OTC, but I'm a fucking fence sitter. I can do what I want. I also acknowledge Solo Sikoa.
You sit in the fence, you like sitting on there?
In this particular instance, yes.
Yeah. You like sitting on it?
I do, yes. Fuck you, yes.
Mm.
And my thing is this. When I first started getting back into wrestling, which was like early 2023, after taking quite a hiatus, Roman Reigns obviously is one of the main attractions in the company, but this Solo Sikoa guy who's kind of the next in line, but is so loyal to Roman that he won't stab him in the back, but he knows he's next in line. Like, that was really intriguing to me, and I was excited to see Solo step into that role.
I love you, Solo.
I do love Solo. And as soon as he started stepping into that role, and talking his shit like he was the tribal chief, honestly, I was embracing it. I was acknowledging Solo Sikoa as he was bringing in Tamatonga, Tongaloa, and then, of course, the shining star Jacob Fatu into the mix. I have acknowledged him throughout this entire time. And then he starts adding in the kind of like comedy stuff into the mix that he's been doing for the last couple
his
months.
Little personality that he has and shit.
And it's gone all the way up to the next level. And I just, dude, this is the year of Solo Sikoa stepping out of Roman Reigns' shadow. And it hasn't always been perfect. The fans haven't always embraced it at large.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the vision from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And to see now that it's finally fully coming to fruition. And yes, I do expect him to lose this match coming up at the Raw on Netflix on January 6th, the debut show. But the damage has been done. Like, Solo has already established himself at this next level. And so even if he loses the status as tribal chief and loses the Ulafala, he's still Solo Sikoa and not the same Solo that started the year of 2024.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think he deserves some acknowledgement for that. Is he going to win the award necessarily? Probably not. But he's a nominee. These are my nominees. And he's got to be nominated.
I feel it.
Drew McIntyre.
Up and down all year, I would say.
Up and down, however, I think, it's one of those ones where we got to look at the full picture from start to finish. Start of 2024, heavy rumors that Drew McIntyre will be leaving the company. Heavy rumors that Drew McIntyre is all elite. It felt like Drew was not satisfied with the creative for his character and was kind of just stuck in this no man's land as a babyface where he just runs around, beats up the mid-card heels, and then when it comes to the big match, he comes up short. And that's not where anyone wants to be. But he, rather than leaving the company and taking that route, which is fine, I respect that as well, but he stuck around and reinvented the character. And it has taken him to new heights that I don't think anyone saw possible for Drew McIntyre a year ago, where he's like firmly cemented in the world title picture, is firmly in the main event scene, and is one of the most intriguing characters in WWE right now because of the simple fact that despite the fact that he is a heel traditionally, he has a lot of merit to his arguments, and he's in this gray area. And he has become one of the most just overall intriguing characters in WWE, in my opinion. And like I said, when you look at that full picture from start to finish, to me, that's something that deserves a lot of recognition. And then on top of that, obviously Punk played a huge part in it. But that feud, Drew and Punk, was just one of the best wrestling feuds of all time. I know it's early to make that call, but I think even years down the line we'll be reminiscing on this with very fond memories. Drew McIntyre deserves a lot of credit for that. The reason why CM Punk won't appear on this list, spoiler alert, he won't, is because I think that 2025 is an even bigger year for CM Punk. I think that this was the first year of the comeback. Injuries held back a lot of what we were really going to be able to see. And so for me personally, not through any fault of his own, but it just fell a tad bit short because of the injuries. And so we got to look at, I think, 2025.
Even after the matches he had this past year.
Yeah. Because I think it meant much more for Drew's career than it did for Punk's. I think Punk is about to go on this legendary feud with Seth that he's about to have. I think he might end up feuding with, who knows, maybe even Roman this year. Like, I think 2025, this upcoming year, will be, hopefully, as a Punk fan, will be much bigger for CM Punk. And so that's why I'm holding him off of this list for now. But to me, when you look at that feud, like I said, for Punk, this gets added to the list of all of the legendary feuds that CM Punk has had throughout a legendary career. To me, this feud redefined how WWE fans look at Drew McIntyre. And so it's just so much bigger for Drew's career to be able to elevate himself into the true main event scene and a borderline legendary status already. I think if he continues on this path of cooking up these amazing feuds, he will be seen as a legend, and it will have truly started this legendary run at the Punk feud. And so, to me, again, as a nominee for Wrestler of the Year, I think Drew McIntyre has to be in the conversation at least.
Winning, but not, yeah, sure.
This is another one that has to be in the conversation. Braun Breaker. I hear you. You gotta look at the idea again, start to finish. Starts the year as an NXT superstar. That's a big deal. Huge deal. Mm-hmm. It's one of the biggest promotions on the planet. Mm-hmm. But it's not the big show. Mm-hmm. Ends the year as a dominant Intercontinental Champion that's been through feuds with some of the biggest talent in the company and is seen in many fans' eyes, including this guy right here, as a future Hall of Famer, future WrestleMania main eventer.
No fair.
He has elevated himself into that level of being seen as like next up. So to me, that's another one of those huge transitions where you went from a promising young talent to like a legitimate talent. You don't even need to say promising anymore. Like, he just is on that path to greatness now. Mm-hmm. There's no doubting it. So to me, Braun Breaker deserves to be shouted out in that conversation. That's just me personally. And maybe I do mark out a bit for Braun Breaker. So fuck you, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
I do think Rhea Ripley, like, you know, again, injuries kind of
fucked her over.
Held it back a bit, but fuck, dude, like, she's one of the most over wrestlers in the entire company. And at the start of the year, that was true, but, like, it's really solidified itself throughout the year that she is, like, arguably the premier talent in the women's division. Like, she is that legit. And so I do think that if we're having that conversation, you gotta throw Rhea Ripley in there. One of her potential, I don't know how to phrase this, someone that she's had some interesting interactions with, I think is also somebody you got to put on this list. Jey Uso. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, the guy has gotten so over with the yeet. I honestly can't believe it's worked this well. Because personally, I was not super intrigued by it at first, because I thought he was doing such great work. The whole, it's gonna be tribal combat, Oos. Him and Roman Reigns, that whole feud they had leading up into the SummerSlam, I think 2023, I believe. That was just so great, and everything. I felt like the Jey Uso character was at its peak leading up to that match and just after that match. And then he disappears for a bit off of TV and comes back a few weeks later, however long it was, with the Yeet gimmick. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I just feel like the character has lacked a bit of depth since then, because you have to shoehorn the Yeet into everything. But it is fun. And so I get, like, I'm in two minds about it. Like, part of me is frustrated that the character has lost its depth to an extent, and part of me appreciates that we just get to turn up and go yeet. You know, it is what it is. But overall, if you look at the year he's had, I do think Jey Uso has to be in the conversation for Wrestler of the Year, because he went from, again, a similar kind of case to Solo Sikoa, where he was one of Roman Reigns' lackeys, essentially, and goes to being a true main eventer in his own right, which he really has become, main event Jey Uso. That was kind of a meme for a bit, but I think it's solidified at this point. Like, if you just look at Survivor Series, I think that tells the whole story. Look at the entrances and how he comes out last after CM Punk, after Roman Reigns. Like, that's a big fucking deal. And so I do think that entrance sequencing in and of itself speaks to the year that Jey Uso has had, because that would not have happened at the start of 2024. Not even close. So yeah, I definitely think Jey Uso has to be in the conversation. I think there's one more guy I gotta add in here. And this is my winner. The winner for Eli's Wrestler of the Year in 2024. All of the people I have mentioned have very valid cases and are very exciting in their own right and have done great work in their own right. But it's gotta be Cody Rhodes, man.
Finish the story.
I think that people are, like, recency bias, forgetting just how significant that was. The whole "We Want Cody" movement is what started off the year.
It was literally supposed to be The Rock and Roman, bro. That's what people forget.
It was supposed to be a totally different match. And the pure momentum of Cody Rhodes shifted the direction of WrestleMania, pushed The Rock out of it. And he ends up finishing the story in the most beautiful way possible, with all of these amazing returns and this just purely, to use an overused word in the wrestling community, a purely cinematic match.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, maybe I'll give people, the haters out there, that the initial title run for the first few months didn't have the most steam. But do you know why? Because everyone knew Cody Rhodes wasn't dropping that fucking belt. And so what do you expect? It's almost an unbookable circumstance, because you know, with the significance of how big that title win is, there's almost no way to make it feel like he's legitimately at risk of losing it. With the threat of Roman looming in the distance, The Rock, all these big matches, you know that, like, AJ Styles at Backlash ain't taking that shit. But that match was fucking awesome. The crowd was amazing. The atmosphere, like, people have acted like this title run has been trash, and it's like, bro.
So what's up with the hate then? Why is this getting?
It's just people just hate on Cody just to hate, because it is what it is. People are always gonna hate on the
people
biggest.
Were complaining on Roman that he doesn't show up, he doesn't do this. Cody's trying to do
Exactly.
Shows, get promos,
and now people are saying it's boring because he wrestles too often, and so you can't please everybody. That's what you gotta understand, is that you are never gonna be able to make everyone happy.
The Cody hate's strong though.
Because people hate when there's something to hate on. Like, that's just the nature of wrestling fans. I truly don't feel like it's justified, though. And can I tell you what proves it for me? This feud that he's in right now with Kevin Owens. Because if you want to say that all of these previous feuds have been boring because you know that he's going to win, okay, I'll let you have that. But this Kevin Owens shit, I went into Saturday night's main event not 100% sure Cody was going to win. Because it has been that strong of a story that has been built so far between KO and Cody. And we're still only in, like, the beginning kind of chapters of it, with the way that everything has developed after Saturday night's main event and everything since then with Kevin Owens. It seems like we're in the kind of beginning, maybe middle stages of an amazing feud and storyline between two absolute Hall of Fame top tier wrestlers. If you aren't enjoying Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens right now, I think you just don't maybe like wrestling that much, or you just don't like Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a phenomenal story that's being told and a phenomenal feud that's playing out. I don't understand what people have against it. I don't understand what people have against Cody Rhodes. And can I tell you what the thing is? I am a self-proclaimed, I will admit, Cody Mark. You can see the action figures here. I love the motherfucker, right?
Yo.
So with that bias stated, let me just say this real quick. The story that everyone likes to reference the whole thing that was finished.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of the American Dream, the original, winning the match, but not winning the belt back in his day during his run, and never getting the chance to win the belt again, never actually hoisting up the WWF at the time championship.
Yo.
And that really meaning something to a young Cody Rhodes is a story that I believe. I can understand how a son can look at his dad and might not understand all the inner workings of the wrestling industry and think it's kind of fucked up that we have this picture in our living room of you holding the belt, but it wasn't actually yours. And as Cody aged and gets into the wrestling industry, I can understand how that's something that rubs you the wrong way and you want to, like, I could go on a whole rant for, like, probably 10 minutes about the story. I'll save that for the people.
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm trying to make here is the story was founded upon very real circumstances. Things that aren't necessarily to do with, like, the wrestling booking story shit that we analyze here on L's show. It's more of, like, the circumstances around the whole wrestling circus that we all love. And how this dude Dusty Rhodes ended up not getting that opportunity at the top of the top. And Cody wanting to fulfill that. Like, and then, of course, him having to go out on his own. Like, dude, it's literally a story that you can make the argument is, like, about 50, 40 years in the making. And for it to fully come to fruition, I mean, you just, dude, like, I honestly think that WrestleMania 40 main event, night 2, will go down as potentially the greatest wrestling match of all time. And it scares me because it's like how I felt after I watched, like, Avengers Endgame or something like that, where it's like,
movie ever and shit.
Not that this is the best movie ever, because, like, I prefer shit like The Godfather, other shit. But my point is that, like, for Marvel specifically, it will never be able to hit this hard
That's
again.
what I'm saying, for, like, that topic,
because of everything that built up. Like, there was over a decade that built up to this. There's no way we can do that again. Like, it was so organic, it was so natural, so much circumstances just happened to play out in the way that we got to that point. And it's like kind of when Cody finished the story, and it's like, dude, there's just no way we're gonna find some wrestler from the 80s who got fucked over by Vince out of spite, and their son is gonna happen to be a world-class talent who also got fucked over by the next generation of creative, maybe not out of spite, but just out of poor creative, ends up going out on his own, by his own decision, not because of a wrestling storyline. He just actually quit his job because he's pissed off, takes that risk, goes and makes himself into a star on the indies, creates his own wrestling promotion. That wrestling promotion becomes a competitor to WWE to the extent where it's such a threat that they try to sign that top talent, which left the fucking company in the first place. Like, all of this shit that happened is so fucking ridiculous. For anyone to tell me that anyone besides Cody Rhodes isn't the wrestler of the year, I would have to tell you, you sir are wrong. Or you ma'am are wrong. Because, dude, the story is just so fucking... It's so real that it feels like it's fake. It's too much. So much played into this shit. Like, Tony Khan is a part of the reason that happened. That shouldn't even...
100%, yep.
What? What? I don't... Nah, man. So if you think anyone else is Wrestler of the Year, I'm happy to hear your case, but brother... I don't think you're right.
You're my full fanboy.
I might beat your ass, yeah.
Or not, bro. 100% agree with you. That will finish the story, bro. Everybody was going crazy watching that shit. Fucking WrestleMania, bro. In fucking Philly, bro.
Bro, Taker?
John Cena.
It all... Come on. Come on. Is there anyone that I didn't have on the list that you think at least deserves a shout?
No, I'm talking about mine right now.
So that's it? Cody Rhodes, Wrestler of the Year?
Cody
Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. Where was that? It was Clash at the Castle?
Mm-hmm.
God, that's such a sick chant. I can't tell you. It's kind of embarrassing how often sometimes I'm just walking around the house. I might be folding some laundry or cooking some food.
Cody.
And I'm like, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. That shit was fine. Man,
Cody.
We've had a great year. And they want to talk down on my GOAT. Get the fuck. I don't know if he's my GOAT, because this is my GOAT.
You'll be his throat goat, though.
But he's the... Ooh. No disrespect. I know he's married and all that. And no disrespect, because I know I'm in a relationship and all that. But that's Cody Rhodes.
Oh,
So if he asked...
Like,
I wouldn't offer, again, like, out of respect to my relationship and his relationship.
Yeah, you a few shots in with some Wheatley vodka. Yeah.
Wheatley, so good, I drink Wheatley. If he gets me on the Cody bus, bro, the Nightmare bus.
He promises you a fucking nightmare interview, bro.
That's
This
is crazy. This is crazy. But, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Suck him off, you fucking get a fucking interview, man.
Don't fucking... No. I know. Nah, because you said... Nah, because you said it like that, nah. Bro says suck him off. Damn, no.
This makes her mad, bro.
No, man. We would do it romantically. I'm not gonna suck him off.
You said you would do it romantically. You're crazy, man.
So that's my Wrestler of the Year.
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck. Dude, that was wild. So we just talked about the best wrestlers of 2024. I think it's only fitting that we look at the other side of the coin. And in sports, like if we were doing a normal sports show talking about your typical athletic endeavors, there's like real statistics and real stuff to figure out like who's the best and worst players in whatever sport.
Yeah.
But professional wrestling is one of those weird things where I don't think it's fair to call anyone the worst, because it's all down to kind of how circumstances out of your control go in a lot of ways.
And no one cares what you think.
What the fuck? So, to me, rather than calling everyone the worst wrestlers of 2024, I think that it's better to say the most underrated. And for this particular video, the definition of underrated is going to be people who don't quite get the props that they deserve for what they do, or what's a bit more common on this list is people who don't get the push that they deserve, in our opinion. Mm-hmm. People who we feel like need to get more TV time, more big wins, more significant storylines, etc. To start off, I think one of the quintessential underrated 2024 wrestlers is Chad Gable. He had a phenomenal year getting himself over out of Alpha Academy, which was, you know, you are fucking hamstrung to the mid-card when you're in a gimmick like Alpha Academy, because that's straight comedy mid-card shit. That's straight comedy mid-card shit. There's no escaping it.
I'm pretty sure he made his bags off commercials and shit, but
For sure. No, it's a great living, but you're never getting to the top of the card as the leader of Alpha Academy. And so to turn heel, turn your back on the faction, try and put yourself over by going against Sami Zayn and everything that was going on with the IC title. There was a window there just after Mania where for a couple months, if you put the IC strap on Chad Gable, the dude would have gotten stupid over and could have potentially been propelled into the world title scene after a strong IC title run. But rather than that, he misses out on that window and ends up with American Made, which is now kind of just the same thing Alpha Academy was, but the heel version, where he's just leading around this other mid-card talent, which they're all very young in their careers. I'm sure they're going to go on to do great things. This isn't like a dunk on Alpha Academy moment or fucking American Made moment. Like, this isn't me trying to shit on anyone. I just think that there was a lot that we could have done with Chad Gable, giving him one of these, and we just didn't. And it felt like that was a moment that was really missed out on.
You know what they said? Fuck your daughter twice. They said fuck your daughter twice, bro.
And made the whole thing a big deal about Sami Zayn getting the win in front of his wife and everything like that. But Chad Gable's family? Fuck y'all, bro. Fuck y'all. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, man. So, yeah, bro, Chad Gable definitely got to be in the conversation. This next one might be a little controversial.
Fucking, this was his daughter's face.
This next pick I got for underrated wrestler might be a little controversial. And I know I was recently defending this guy, so this might even come off as a bit hypocritical to people who might have been watching the recent content. But LA Knight. So I was recently defending his title run on here, saying that people were giving it too much hate. But I think there's a middle ground here. People were shitting on the title run, saying that it was completely trash. I think that's too far over on this side. But I think that there's some people that are over on this side saying that LA Knight's amazing, still the best thing ever, and like still just loving LA Knight. I think it's more in the middle, and I think that's the underrated zone, where he had a strong title run, decent, wasn't as bad as some people were making it out to be, but definitely didn't have that marquee feud, that big moment that you can hang your hat on. And honestly, if you look at the momentum that LA Knight had, that he carried throughout 2023, and compare that to LA Knight 2024, I think the momentum has slowed down a bit. The pop is still there. Like, he's still big with the fans, which is great. But I think that if we gave LA Knight the proper platform, the proper heel to go up against, or honestly, I think if we turned LA Knight heel, there could be more to do with the character. But as things stand, I think that he is an underused talent. Just for what the potential of what he has. Someone that you brought to the table in our conversation earlier, Jade Cargill. Why do you think Jade Cargill deserves to be on this list?
She was very overhyped when she first got advertised, no? The storm was coming, this and that.
Yeah, it was kind of supposed to be this big thing that, like, shook up the women's division.
Charlotte Flair, all this and that, or whatever.
Big moment with Nia in the Royal Rumble.
And now she's somehow stuck in a tag team with Bianca Belair, which is another one on our list. And now she's injured somehow. And now she's she's on the shelf for some reason now.
So if you look at the full year, you're saying
not good.
Has ended up, yeah, no, honestly, I think it's hard to disagree because, like you said, like she came in with, honestly, let's be real, because there's been at this point quite a few big signings from AEW to WWE. Besides Cody, obviously, I think she was probably the most propped up AEW steal that WWE have had thus far, and it just didn't. Yeah, it hasn't really gone anywhere so far. And so, yeah, definitely you gotta put Jade in that conversation. You kind of mentioned it a bit. You also had Bianca in your personal list of underrated, underused wrestlers.
She's supposedly one of the top faces in the female division, though. They put her in a lot of advertisements. They put her everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
So why she Miss Investigator who killed my partner, basically, type of shit.
And even before that, just generally stuck kind of, like you said, in the
Same
tag
shit,
division.
tag team type of shit. I understand, yeah, it's like pushing the tag team division, everything, they're a good partnership, whatever. I understand the deeper vision and everything.
But no, like, you're very valid in saying that, like, if we're just isolating 2024 and looking at the year in totality, this has not been a strong year for Bianca Belair. No, that's... And it's like you said, it's unfortunate because she is, like, supposed to be one of the, like, pillars of the company, especially of the women's division, and just hasn't really been given a chance to shine properly. There's been so much other stories being told in the women's division where she hasn't really factored in. And yeah, no, definitely, I think both of those shouts were very, very fair. Very, very fair. This next one I added onto the list and is a bit of a departure from these ones where we've been saying they're like underused, underpushed, because she's gotten a fair push and she gets a great amount of TV time for a mid-card wrestler. But I don't think she gets the appreciation from the community. Piper Niven. So everyone loves and everyone appreciates Chelsea Green.
I feel like this is one of those calls that I made last week. 2 weeks ago, I mean.
Everyone loves Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is because everyone is so over on Chelsea, which is deserved, 100%, people tend to ignore what Piper adds to that friendship, that tandem that they have. And I just think that, especially if we're talking in-ring ability, because obviously Chelsea carries a lot with the mic work, but even then, Piper is great for dropping these little one-liners or just backing up Chelsea. Like, I do think she's genuinely funny in her own right. Mm-hmm. But obviously being paired with Chelsea helps that a lot. I'll give people that. But the in-ring ability that she's able to add to that partnership and gives Chelsea so much legitimacy, she's able to pull off some really phenomenal shit. And honestly, I thought had a decent shout when she was getting pushed at Clash at the Castle earlier this year. I would have liked to have seen maybe not a full like women's world title push, but maybe her getting deeper in the United States Championship tournament or just anything to see Piper pushed a bit more as an individual. But I just think that she's someone who's underrated, just slept on by the community in general. I'm a big fan of Piper Niven, and I think that in the women's division, she adds something that's pretty unique with the way that she's able to work in the ring, the stuff that she adds with Chelsea outside of the ring. I think Piper Niven is an underrated talent.
Interesting shot, but yeah. Okay.
I do.
Too, but yeah.
I'm a Piper Niven supporter. I'm going to put that out into the world.
Just kiss her already, bro.
I'm a happily taken man in a relationship. I'm good on that. You know, it's definitely nothing along those lines. Fan of her work. I don't know why you took it there. Just for the record, for the people out there, he would have said it for a male wrestler as well. He's a piece of shit. Someone else that I think we gotta throw in the category is Finn Balor, and it stings. it fucking stings. Cause god damn it, Finn is a legend of professional wrestling.
Finn.
Finn is a professional wrestling legend when you consider just everything he's done around the world. And now we're at this point where he is stuck in no man's land. It's another one of those situations like with Chad Gable where there was a moment where if we pulled the trigger on it, it could have been so different, and that was post SummerSlam for Finn, where after the whole Judgment Day breakup happens, if we get to that Damian versus Finn feud immediately after, there could be so many interesting things you can do with it. But it just got kind of delayed, kicked down the road. And by the time we got to it, the match itself wasn't great. And it just ended up being kind of underwhelming. But Finn versus Damian was supposed to be one of the money feuds of the year. And it just never quite hit. But that feud, missing the mark, ended up being what cost Finn his kind of heat this year. You know what like that was the big moment, and since then there hasn't really been anything. They're finally starting to give us a bit of something with this whole tension in the Judgment Day with him and Liv and him and Raquel. Like, I think maybe for us Finn fans there's something to start being hopeful about a bit, but this won't be playing out until next year. And so if we're just isolating 2024, it's been a rough year for Finn Balor. A year of missed opportunities for Finn Balor. It's unfortunate. How you feeling about Finn?
He's supposed to be one of the top fucking superstars now. He's supposed to be one of the main guys, no? Bro just keeps on getting cooked, bro. No cap.
Yeah.
Pause, but...
yeah. It's rough.
Bro is trying to supposedly take control of the Judgment Day. Now he's getting laughed at by the rest of the Judgment Day. Now he's fucking losing the fucking his shot at the world title and shit like that. Like, bro.
It's rough. I feel for him, man. I do hope that next year is stronger for Finn Balor because he's got the talent, and at the age he's at, who knows how much longer we have, like, prime Finn Balor. So I hope that next year is stronger for him.
Are we going to get Demon Balor on the final Finn Balor, Damian Priest match?
I would love it if they pulled that out again. I think this would be an opportunity where it fits. But, yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up and get disappointed. Speaking of being disappointed, this one, again, might be a bit controversial, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm sorry. The Wyatt Six. It's been a bit underwhelming in a lot of ways. I feel like the overall presentation of the group is still really strong. The visuals and everything, like, I think they do a really good job presenting the group. But the storylines have lacked follow through. You know, like, no one that they feuded with has fundamentally changed their ways. They keep on going after people, wanting to make them see the error of their judgments, make them understand that they're doing the wrong things. And it's, you know, they're terrified during the feuds and people act all scared. But then once the Wyatt Six stop focusing on them, they just go back to being the pieces of shit that they were beforehand. And so it feels like the group lacks a bit of impact. They haven't gotten a chance to get thrusted into anything with any truly main event talent. And I think one of the biggest failures on the creative part of WWE is the fact that this massive, big deal faction debuted, and they haven't even made it onto a PLE yet. Not a single show.
They're just on Raw, kind of there.
So I guess I just look at it as, like, the whole hype and the build-up was so elaborate, and they did all the teases and hints, and it was supposed to be this big thing. And of course, because of the love we all have for Bray Wyatt, we're naturally gonna buy in and support it. But if we just honestly assessed where the faction is at after their first kind of calendar year closes on being on the show, I think it's been a bit of a failure. And I think we gotta do more to make their feuds feel like they matter and try and do more to propel them into the main event scene. I don't think that means they gotta start going for championships and shit like that, because I don't think stuff like that, these material objects, should matter to a group like the Wyatt Six. But the fact that they can go after and torture and attack someone like a Chad Gable, and then he's still out there being a piece of shit with American Made, well, what was the point?
Yeah.
What was the point? He barely even got held off of TV after the
Same
feud.
shit with
like,
The Miz.
The Miz is still being a heel with Karrion Kross, and I'll give them a bit of credit that at least that storyline hasn't fully concluded. So maybe there will be some sort of development. But the way it's gone so far, I'm not super hopeful. And if that's the case, what the fuck are they doing? What are they accomplishing? So I guess I just worry that they're gonna end up being just a cool gimmick, but nothing more. And that's not what I want for them. Like, I truly wanted the Wyatt Six to have something that feels like they matter. And because you constantly have characters turning heel, turning face, like, it would have been fine for that feud with Chad Gable to have turned him to a babyface for a bit. Even if he ends up turning heel again, just to make the feud feel like it had a tangible impact going forward. Even if it's just he's too scared and he's obviously, like, still wants to do the same American-made bullshit, but he's like, oh, no, guys, we can't do that because, you know, the Wyatt Six might be watching. Like, that type of a thing. Like, there's so many ways you could have done it to make the feud feel like it had some sort of lasting impact going forward. And they just never attempted to do that. And that was a failure. I got a couple more on here that are a bit more random. But I'm going to throw them out there for you.
What the fuck is that, bro?
I guess it's just because I'm fans of their work. And I feel like they could get a more significant push if creative felt like it, basically.
What title, though, would he win?
Well, I'll explain. I think Andrade had just as valid of a case as Shinsuke to be the person that dethroned LA Knight.
That one's fair, but Axiom?
I didn't put Axiom on the list.
Oh, you did? Oh.
This was thought I was put.
I thought you were actually being serious with it.
We were joking earlier. We were talking about the list, and I was pretending like I was going to put Axiom on there. No.
I literally just saw it right now.
We'll save the NXT shit for another day. Fucking Andrade, to me, was someone who I feel like had a very valid case to be the person who could have dethroned LA Knight as the United States champion. And I think just in general, besides that little mini feud that they had going with Carmelo Hayes, hasn't been given a whole lot to work with. And when you look at what Andrade has, the package of a wrestler he is, if you book that guy properly, he's easily in your world title picture and potentially a world champion. 100%. Like, I think that I just feel like he's underused at the moment. And it's partially because WWE just has a spoil of riches in their main event scene. Like, they could close their eyes, throw a dart at the dartboard, and whoever's face it lands on, they'd make him the world champion and we'd buy it. Like, the roster is stacked. However, because of that, there's gonna naturally be some people who get left behind, and unfortunately this year one of those people that's been the most left behind, in my opinion, is Andrade. The final nominee I have on my list for most underrated wrestlers of the year is someone who it's an interesting one, but it's someone that I think people will feel me. Like, there was a big opportunity to turn this guy babyface for a while, and we teased it for a while, and then Austin Theory just runs around doing the same old bullshit with Grayson Waller.
Bro.
At this point, I don't even know if they're gonna pull the trigger on it. I think we might just go back to them being a tag team and just being your generic heels that think that they're the shit because they're the shit.
They are,
and they are, but damn, man, like, the pop that Theory would have gotten
if he would have fucking hit,
would have been huge. And My thing is, like, I've never met him, but from all accounts I've heard from fans and, like, reporters and stuff like that, like, it seems like he's genuinely a really good dude and might just naturally, by the nature of his personality, again, not trying to insinuate like I know anything about him personally, but from reports and stuff I've seen online, it seems like he might just be better suited to being a babyface just because he's kind of chill. And so if you just give him a fun face gimmick of him just kind of being more of himself, that might get him more over than him, like, trying to be this cocky piece of shit, but it feels like his heart isn't fully in it, which is crazy because he's got all the reason in the world to be cocky. Like, the dude is fucking shredded to no end, like, handsome guy, makes a lot of money, like, I'm sure he's could be cocky, but it just seems like his heart's not in it. Like, he doesn't give me that MJF, like, real shitty, egotistical dude vibe. And, that is partially, I guess, to his fault because I'm not fully bought into the character. But part of it, I also think, is if you're giving someone a character to portray that is not who they really are, it's going to be harder for them to make it believable. So I feel like an Austin Theory face turn would have been positive for him. Would have been good for Grayson Waller, too, to make his heel character feel a little bit more legit, I guess. But
interesting calls, but yeah, I feel it.
Now they're just kind of both stuck running around with one another
Mid cards.
So those are my nominees, and if from that list, I'm gonna actually let you do the honors first and let you give me your pick for your most underrated wrestler of 2024.
Finn Balor.
Finn Balor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your reasoning?
Like I said, he's supposed to be one of the top stars. He wrestles like one of them. He talks like one of them.
But he doesn't get pushed like one of them?
Nope. Bro, it's just literally over here chilling in the backstage playing WWE 2K with the rest of the Judgment Day.
It's pretty tough.
And then now he's on the blame game, how every other heel is doing nowadays, I guess.
What do you see for the future of Finn Balor within, let's say, like, the next 3 months going into the new year? I get, like, where do you see this feud that's kind of brewing with Liv playing out? And obviously there's the kind of transfer portal open.
He's going to definitely have to handle a lot of shit, bro. If he's going to want to, like, supposedly start the new year and win some titles, he's going to fucking have to handle a lot of shit.
Okay. Honestly, I think that Finn is a fair... Like, I'm not going to argue against it. Part of me, honestly, I almost want to agree with you and say Finn, but for the sake of the show, and also partially because I do really stand by it, I'm going to go ahead and say the Wyatt Six. Because that debut, like, I don't know if you fully have remembered just how deep that whole, like, all of the different teases, the little flash ups, the QR codes, like, the shit lasted for, I want to say, a good 2-3 months. Like, way longer than people were kind of like, all right, like, can we just bring them out already? Like,
in August, fucking July or something.
The build was ridiculous. And by the time they finally debuted, obviously the pop was huge because of everything. Like, of course, we were so ready to pop for that shit. But if we really look at where we're at now, it sucks to say, but I feel like we have to say that it's been a failure thus far. From where they should have been, with where the hype was at when they debuted, no one could have predicted that they'd be beefing it with Karrion Kross.
That's hilarious.
No, deadass. Like, if I would have told you when the Wyatt Six debuted that in December of this year, they'd be beefy with Karrion Kross.
Who's more evil, bro?
And not only that, can I tell you this?
Who's more evil?
Can I tell you this?
Who's more evil?
Not only by December of this year, so we just time traveled back to when the Wyatt Six debuted, right? And now I'm talking to you, past you. Hey, Elise, check this shit out. The Wyatt Six just debuted, right? You're hella excited about it, right? But check this shit out, twin. I just time traveled from December. Can I tell you some crazy shit, gang? they're gonna be beefing it with Karrion Kross in December, and like low key, it's the best feud they've had so far is with Karrion Kross.
Who's more evil, bro?
And look, like credit to Karrion, like in that whole whatever the fuck they call themselves.
Triple H is probably trying to
Final Testament.
Triple
That's
H is
cool.
probably trying to his both of the factions, bro. Honestly.
But fuck, this is rough, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is rough. That is my pick. And again, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish it wasn't the case for everyone on this list. I hope that everyone on this list next year is on the Wrestler of the Year list. Don't say, don't be mean. We want people to succeed. Damn. You a fucking asshole. Alright, man. Shit.
Fucking GG's, bro.
L show.
Shout out to
Shout out to everybody, man. If you made it to this point, bro, we have been getting some like real love on the content recently.
Fuck yeah, bro.
People liking it up, dropping comments, bro. Honestly, we
That shit
cannot
inspiring,
express
bro.
how thankful we are. Like that we are fucking means the world to us, and we are gonna keep dropping this shit. And if you want to keep hanging out with us, come along. L show.
L fucking show, bro. That's another week.
Another week.
Catch you later, chat.